What's going on, everybody? This is on Hopper TV. If you're thinking about coming to Singapore, you're going to want to watch this. Things to do. Let's do it. This list of 31 things to do in Singapore is in no particular order, but number one here is going to be Gardens by the Bay, Super Tree Grove. By the way, guys, if you check the links in the description below, you can actually click around to see each activity specifically, so check the description below. But let's talk about the Super Tree Grove here at Gardens by the Bay. If you just want to walk around the bottom of the Super Tree Grove, that is free. It's free to just walk around. That's a good thing, right? But if you wanted to go up to the OCBC Skyway, you do have to pay admission cost, 8 Singapore dollars per adult and 5 Singapore dollars per child. But you can see up here you get great views all around Marina Bay, looking down at these metal super trees. And you can see they even have an observatory that you can walk around up top one of these super trees, which is another thing to do while visiting Gardens by the Bay, because there are several different enclosures and sites that you can explore around this Gardens by the Bay area. And inside the observatory, you do also have to pay an entrance fee, but do check online for pricing, and I think you can even buy a full package online for much cheaper than you would if you show up there. So check different websites when you arrive in Singapore for this activity. But you could see up here they do have a cafe, they have a lounge area at the very top. So if you're looking for some great pictures, check out the observatory. Now we're gonna move just across the way here to the actual cloud forest. This is the Avatar Cloud Forest, and they do have a waterfall and really an interesting exhibit in here. The cool thing about this one is it's indoors, so it's air conditioned, whereas the Super Tree Grove is outdoors and you could be subject to the humidity at that area. Each exhibit has its own unique appeal for me, but I would say that the Avatar Cloud Forest of all of the exhibits is my favorite. I just like walking around here, especially since it's air conditioned. When it's hot in Singapore, it can get real humid and wet, but inside here, you're totally safe from all that. And they also have a skyway, as you can see, looking down onto the garden from up top here. Each one of these activities, you set aside 30 minutes to an hour for each one, so you could be at Gardens by the Bay for a half a day checking out all of the exhibits. And the next one we're going to show you is going to be the Flower Dome. This one is actually my least favorite of all of them, but it could end up being your favorite. The reason I don't really like it as much as the others is because it's just flowers, and I can see great flowers if I go to the botanical garden and that orchid garden, which we will be showing you later in the video. But here in the Flower Dome, you will see a variety of different flora and fauna in an air-conditioned exhibit, which is a great thing, right? There is several different microclimates, such as arid, desert, and savanna, all inside of here, along with tropical plants. So anyways, moving on from the Gardens by the Bay, let's go check out the Marina Bay Walk and see what's down here. And down here, you're going to have the Merlion Fountain. You're also going to have views all across the bay of Marina Bay Sands, and the museums and the downtown skyline. Here you can take pictures and enjoy the sunset. Another thing I wanted to tell you about the Merlion, it is a mix between a lion and a mermaid, which is a mythical character from Singapore, a city that gets its name from Singha, which actually means lion. And here you have the Louis Vuitton building and the Art and Science Museum right here. And it's a great place to people watch, do some exercise, ride a bike, go for a jog, and just generally take it easy. Now we're going to show you around the shops at Marina Bay Sands. Also known as MBS, they have the Rain Oculus and this indoor gondola that you can take a boat ride around. But the shopping experience, the food here, makes it one of my favorite malls in all of Singapore. And as you guys know, shopping malls in Singapore are very popular. So this is definitely high up there on the list of places you'll want to check out. It's also at the bottom of Marina Bay Sands Hotel, which has the bar, and the infinity pool at the very top that people like to go to for that observation and viewpoint. And since we all know you guys like free activities, especially in Singapore, now we're going to head to Haji Lane, which is a great place to get hole-in-the-wall boutiques, cafe. It's also a very unique place to take pictures if you're looking to do that for your Instagram, because we know some of you guys like to actually get out there and take those pictures. And it is an Islamic district. There is a mosque here, so most of the cuisine you're going to get here is going to be between Turkish, Lebanese, Malay, Indonesian, or even Arabic food. The people, the vibe, the culture, it's all alive and well down here on Haji Lane. Here is a look at the Sultan Mosque. Also, they have another road here right next door to Haji Lane called Arab Street, a must visit in Singapore. Just down the way, now we are headed to the Singapore Flyer, where you can get tickets to one of these air-conditioned capsules for 33 Singapore dollars per person. There are 28 of these capsules, and you can see you get great views all around. It does take 30 minutes for the actual ride to complete, so be ready to be on this thing for 30 minutes, and it moves a slow pace. The views you're going to get from high up here are going to be mostly of Marina Bay Sands and that surrounding area, but you can see in other directions, even out towards Changi Airport. Once you get to the very top, look at this view you get. Wow, what a cool ride, huh? This is also a good time for me to remind you to check the links in the description for some of our other videos or also other activities as we continue to show you around Singapore. We will be making a full travel guide as well as best areas to stay and things to know when visiting Singapore. Well, after a great ride on the Singapore Flyer, now let's head over to an old school classic area, Clarke Quay. A place where you can do shopping, also find bars and plenty of restaurants. They even have some activities, but the main thing here is it's right on the Singapore River. This is actually an old historic region because many moons ago, this was a very common place for boats to come up and down here between Clarke Quay and Boat Quay. In the daytime, it's not as happening as it is at night. This is a common place people go to watch sports games, as they have different pubs on both sides of Clarke Quay and Boat Quay. So check out the area around here if you want to get a hotel nearby. They also have the capsules and the hostels here. That's where you're going to generally stay if you do decide to go with the hostel. Get ready to eat some fresh seafood when you're down here. The prices tend to be a bit pricier the closer you are to the river, so I want to put that out there. Here is a look at the nightlife scene around Boat Quay or the Clarke Quay area, so you can see it takes on a whole other vibe than it has in the afternoon. Really a nice place to finish a night while you're here in Singapore. Next up, we're going to head to the Art and Science Museum. We touched on this earlier, but we didn't quite show you around, and now we're going to show you some of the exhibits in here. And they do have varying prices depending on what exhibit you are here for. You can get an all museum pass if you wanted, or you can combine two of the exhibits and get a better price. For example, we did Future World, where art meets science, and we also did Mental, Colors of Well-Being. So check out the special exhibit they have at the time you are in Singapore. If you do choose to visit here, I would say set aside 2 hours. It's not a huge museum and exhibits. You can move through pretty quickly, but it is worth a stop, especially if you have young kids and you want to help them with their creative development. Even for me, it was good for my creative development. As you can see so far, Singapore is full of educational activities. Now we're going to head to the Singapore Zoo, one of the most popular zoos in all of the world, one of the most famous zoos. They have orangutans, a very active pride of lions, as you can see right here. Tickets for the Singapore Zoo, if you book online, can be as low as 38 Singapore dollars per person. Check out this pygmy hippo, friendly elephants like you see right here, animal shows, these apes I told you about, the orangutans, and check out these howler monkeys right here. I just can't get over their long nose. Actually, these are called proboscis monkeys. Thankfully, they do have a tram that can take you around, but as you can see, the diversity in animals is incredible here. The only thing I wish they had that they don't have is gorillas. In terms of going to a zoo, looking for animals, you do kind of expect to see gorillas. They don't have them here, but it's okay. Anyways, let's head next door to where the pandas are actually at. That is called River Wonders. It's a totally different park, so you have to pay another entrance fee to get in here. Tickets are anywhere between $25 to $30 per person, but if you do a bundle package, you can get a better price where you can include the night safari, which we will be showing you, the zoo, and River Wonders. But if you book online, you can even possibly get better prices than what you get at the entrance. But you can see, because it is River Wonders, you're going to have exhibits from the Amazon and other major river resources around the world. Fish, piranhas are here, crocodiles, they even have a monkey exhibit. But the big ticket in town is going to be the pandas, which are my favorite attraction. They also have a ride called Amazon River Quest. You could spend a whole day at the three parks here. Next up, we're going to head to Little India, another very culturally rich community inside of Singapore. Just like Haji Lane, you're going to find good food, lots of opportunities to take pictures for your Instagram. And I really enjoy Little India. I come here and get a haircut, I eat some local food, talk to the locals from India and here that live in Singapore. Really a fun place for me. If you need to do any shopping for cheap items, you can find it here in Little India, by the way. But let's just show you a little bit around here, some of the sights, walking around and shopping. But you can see, very colorful, isn't it? And after a stroll around Little India, guess where you can head next? Up to the Botanical Gardens. A free activity where you can walk around, and it's not going to cost you anything unless you want to go into the Orchid Garden, which we will be showing you later. But here around the Botanical Garden in Singapore, it's very interesting because it's a tropical paradise where they have so much diversity in flora and fauna. And it certainly is one of the best botanical gardens in the entire world. As you can see here next to the lily pond, they actually have an amphitheater, so on certain days you can catch a concert here. To explore the whole botanical garden, you would probably want to do that in the morning time or the late afternoon when it's not so hot. Preferably overcast day would be great because you will need several hours. This is a very large eco park. And inside the botanical garden is the National Orchid Garden, which I told you about. It's actually a UNESCO World Heritage Site if you love these flowers that grow along the vines and branches of tall trees all around the world, because there are very many species of orchids. You will love this garden, and I do recommend it. The entrance fee to this orchid garden is $5 if you buy the ticket online. That's 5 Singapore dollars. Or you can actually buy the ticket there on site, but you get a better price if you buy online. If you do decide to check out the orchid garden, I would say set aside about an hour and a half to walk around because there are several different areas. Alright, so now we're going to show you around Sentosa Island. This is a place that requires at least a half a day, but probably a full day. Many people actually stay out here. You can actually take a tram to get out there, or you can take a gondola ride to get out there. There's also the Sentosa Boardwalk. And when on the actual island, you can find Universal Studios, where the tickets start at 81 Singapore dollars per person. Also, there's other activities like the Sea Aquarium, which is actually one of the world's largest aquariums, and some say it is actually the largest in the world, with over 100,000 marine animals and 1,000 species across 40 different tanks. The largest tank here has 10,000 sea animals in it with 45 million liters of water in the tank. Big sharks and manta rays in this aquarium. No whale sharks though. And right next door is Resorts World, where they actually have a casino. Now you do need to be a part of the members lounge, and in order to be a part of that, you will need to submit your passport details. Other activities and attractions include indoor skydiving, the beaches. There's Palawan Beach and Silosa Beach, which we will be showing you next here. In my opinion, Palawan Beach at Sentosa Island is the best beach in all of Singapore. So if you're looking for that, here's the answer. It's right here at Palawan Beach on Sentosa Island. But like I said, there's several others. These are man-made beaches though. You're not going to get natural beaches in Singapore like you'll get in Thailand or some of the other islands in Southeast Asia. And as you walk across the drawbridge here, you actually enter into the furthest south point of continental Asia. Just down the road from Palawan Beach, you have Silosa Beach, which is actually where they have bars and beach clubs. I like going here because they have activities around here as well, like AJ Hackett, bungee jumping, and zip line. So one way to do this is you go to a beach club, have some fun, and then once you've had your fun in the pool, you head over to Sky Park with AJ Hackett, where you get your adrenaline rush from the bungee cord or the zip line. And then if you need food or drinks, just head over to Bikini Bar and get an acai if you're into that. But you take the tram back across to the harbor front, and then you take the MRT back to your hotel. And the next day you can head to the National Gallery of Singapore. This is an old building and really an impressive exhibit. If you love art, you're going to want to set aside at least 2 hours for this particular museum, where the tickets cost around 13 Singapore dollars per person. They also have more than one exhibit on various different floors, so check out all exhibitions, including the lower level, as well as the rooftop, where they actually have 2 restaurants and great views looking towards downtown Singapore. Another culturally rich place you can explore is Chinatown, where you can find a wide variety of tasty cuisine, of course. They also have an MRT station right here, so you can easily get to Chinatown and back to where you need to go. But down here you can do some shopping, you can also check out some of the temples, and soak up some of the culture, of course. While in Chinatown, check out Food Street. You can also see the restaurants serving traditional Hainanese chicken, noodles, and satay. Also, I wanted to say, if you guys are new to this channel and you're enjoying this video so far, consider subscribing and watching some of our other videos from Singapore and Southeast Asia as we continue to show you around. And after 2 hours of walking around Chinatown, eating some of the cuisine and soaking up the culture, the next thing you can do is ride that MRT. And the reason we put the Mass Rapid Transit on this list of things to do, because in my opinion, this is actually one of the best subway systems in the world. It's clean, modern, and efficient. Really can take you anywhere in the entire country, because remember, Singapore is a city. It is also a country on an island. And this is a look at the many stations across Singapore for the MRT. What I recommend is getting the pass, the card, the Singapore pass, and then just topping up as needed. I noticed that it takes about $2 Singapore to go on a 5 to 10 minute ride, so it's very affordable. You're not going to break the bank. You can spend anywhere between 10 Singapore per day per person and see a lot of Singapore. So a lot of bang for your buck and value. The cool thing about the MRT is you can go to our next destination, Food Hawkers. We got Lau Pasat, you've got Norton's, you've got many different food hawkers, and in Singapore, The thing about food hawkers is some of them are known for Michelin awards for their superior cuisine. In my opinion, Singapore is the #1 foodie city in the world with a fusion of Indian and other Southeast Asian cuisines, Western cuisines. You can really find it all here. You got Malay, Indonesian cuisine, you have Chinese cuisine, you have Japanese, Korean, Vietnamese. All of that can be found right here in a food hawker. And in case you're wondering exactly what a food hawker is, it's basically food stalls, kind of like a food court, where local Singapore residents go to eat during lunch or dinner, even breakfast. And at this point, if Singapore has captivated your attention and you want to learn more about it, the history and all that jazz, head over to the National Museum of Singapore and learn. There is 2 levels, but we can't film or record in here because no videography or pictures are allowed. I do highly recommend that museum though. Next up, we'll head next door to Fort Canning Park. This is an old fort from the British, and now it's just an area you can walk around like an eco park at the Botanical Garden. And from here you can get some views, but most importantly, you get relaxation inside the city. And we did touch on the night safari previously, but we want to highlight it here more specifically. So if you're looking for something to do in the evening time, a night safari will show you the nocturnal animals of the Singapore Zoo complex. The night safari does get crowded, so try to show up early or wait for the crowds to subside because it can get pretty jammed there waiting for trams. I did wait in line for about 45 minutes, and there's no real getting around that depending on when you show up. If you bundle the price with the zoo and the river safari, you will save money. What would a trip be to Singapore without experiencing the nightlife? Some of the areas that I will highlight here is going to be the Orchard area. That's Orchard Road. I would also recommend Boat Quay, Clark Quay, which we featured previously, the downtown area, and then even Haji Lane. There's many other areas that you can just simply Google and get the information for where to go for nightclubs or bars and other activities that may be of interest to you. Another activity that you can do is at the airport. The airport in general is one of the best airports overall because they have the butterfly garden, but there's one specific activity that you can do here that really captivates people's attention. It's called the Jewel, which we will be showing you here shortly. Most people who visit Singapore end up going through this airport, but the catch to getting to the Jewel is that it's on the outside of the concourses. Even though it's at Terminal 1, you have to actually check out of the airport, and if you're on a layover, it's going to take 8 hours, they say, to get in and out. So take time to do it before you leave on a flight or do it after you arrive, which is visit the Jewel where you can eat and do some shopping. As we conclude here from the Cactus Garden and the actual Jewel itself, I would like to thank you guys for watching this episode of Island Hopper TV and encourage you guys to watch some more of our other videos from Southeast Asia and Singapore by clicking one of these links next.